I'm going to talk about how fitness and health changed my life. When I was a young adolescent, 8, 9 years old, I used to suffer from severe allergies. I'm talking about sore throats, ear infections. I had environmental asthma and the whole nine. And I know that it was genetic because my parents and my grandparents had it. My mom and my grandparents had it. But I really feel like exercise and starting eating right really changed just the way I felt. And it took me until I was about 12, 13 years old to where I started to realize, something wasn't right. At that time, I was eating just what everybody ate: dairy, gluten, and all different types of food. Whatever was served, Chef Boyardee, and all these other cheap foods. But once I got into high school, one thing is that I stayed active all my life, and I really feel like that really helped me clear out asthma before I even knew anything about food. So when I got into high school, I was always an athlete. I played multiple sports, football, basketball, and baseball. And one thing about staying real active, I could tell that it took away the asthma, and me always doing cardiovascular training, always exercising and training for sports, really improved my asthma and improved just my overall wellness. But it wasn't until I got to college and was playing college football, played 3-4 years, I was still eating fast food, all these cheap processed foods, like everybody else does. And I really didn't wisen up till I was about 22 years old when I got out of college. And at that time, I moved to Puerto Rico, and I was living in a property over there that we own. And I started to cut out my diet. I started to eat more vegetables, to eat more to eat more whole foods, and cut out all the processed foods. And it was crazy how allergies and all these things that I suffered from, constant sneezing, sinusitis, whatever the sinus is, how this stuff just started to go away just by implementing vegetables, whole foods, seeds, nuts, and all these things. I started to see it go away. It was crazy. It was miraculous. I wasn't consciously doing it. It was just something that I noticed. And that was the first little time it started to change my life. And I was about 22 years old when that happened. And I lived over there for about 2.5 years. And then at that time, I started researching a lot. There was a website, naturalnews.com, and I was doing a lot of research just on health foods, organic foods, vitamins, the power of just foods and nutrients in general. And I started to play around with my diet, and it got me into a lot of passion into training and foods in general. And when I got back here to the States at about 23, 24 years old, I read this book. I forgot the name of the doctor, but it was a book written in the 70s. I'll put the link to the book on the page, on the YouTube page. But the book taught me that to figure out what type of sinuses you have, or to figure out if you have food allergies, which I never heard of before in my life. Food allergies, what the hell is that? You would take the food out for 5 to 7 days and then reintroduce it. And at 25 years old, I found out I was lactose intolerant. It took me 25 years to realize that. And the only reason I realized that was excluding some of these foods that we always eat daily: dairy, gluten, and different processed foods, and then reintroducing it after a week. And what you'll realize is crazy just how your body reacts. You start to feel bloatingness, you'll start to feel all this gas and all this, even acne and stuff like that. It just affects all different types of organs in your body. And that really changed my life. Just really, it just flipped my whole mind frame that, hey, maybe some of the foods that we taught, that we're brought up to eat, aren't the most beneficial for us. And then when I started doing more research into how a lot of these foods are mass produced, and that the manufacturing of these foods isn't really the healthiest, and then all of a sudden I learned something about genetically modified foods, which just blows my mind, how they would manipulate the genes and incorporate different animal genes into the food to make it bigger. Then it really started to realize, I was like, man, it's extremely hard for us people, all people in our society, to eat healthy. I'm talking about, it seems like everything's against us, unless you live in some really conscious areas like Colorado or LA. But I'm here in Florida, and it just seems like there was just so much against us. So it even forced me to be even more acute to my choices and really focus on my health. And that's where my passion to help people really change their mindset of food and exercise really came about. And this is all in terms of just food that I started to realize this. And I really want young people to realize that You might be suffering from these different allergies and these different sicknesses and have all this mucus at all times. But a lot of that can be changed by the choices you eat, the food that you eat. Sometimes, a lot of the times, the food that's on commercials and the foods that shows, that has the best marketing isn't the best food that we should be eating just because a celebrity's showing it that. And I think that our youth are intelligent enough nowadays to make the proper decisions. Teenagers and young 20s, because it would really be great if you could figure out way before I did. It took me 25 years to realize, what these foods would do to me. And that's just a quick little talk on nutrition. And in terms of fitness, fitness is something that I've always done, but really, once I got into my 20s, I realized that fitness has a lot more benefits than just looking good and getting these abs and these definitions. Doing more research and realizing that the benefits not only on your neurological system with the non-epinephrines and the increase in serotonin and dopamine to make you feel good and really cut out depression, but also just to have energy and just to feel good about yourself. So, doing this research, it really motivated me to want to help people and reach out and push this type of thought onto other people, because I know that as humans, we're not meant to be sick. Don't get it twisted. We are not meant to be sick. I don't care what anybody says. We are not meant to take pills daily, and we are not meant to be, straight rely on these different artificial substances, these generic substances to live. A lot of these choices we can make through the way that we live, the way that the foods that we put into our body, and the lifestyle that we follow. Eat cheap little processed foods and just hanging out and doing all these substances to beat your body up. That's not really that cool. Not the next day, because you don't feel that great. But and that's just kind of a little part of what drives me to help people and push people forward, because I know the power of just changing your diet and changing your lifestyle and how it affects you in your overall perspective, your overall actions in life. So, and a third part to that is the mentality. I started really to focus on personal development and how our thoughts really start to shape our day, and doing more research on perception and how we look at our day and look at different experiences that happen to our life. And I've always been a positive person, but doing more and more research and listening to a lot of greats in the personal development and a lot of people who have been successful in all walks of life, I started to realize that changing the way we think and the way we program our own mind has a major benefit on things that come. For instance, when negative things come up, a lot of times it's not that negative depending on how you perceive it or depending on how you look at it. It's all about how we react to the situations that we have and react to these problems, because a lot of times negative things in life push us in the right direction. So I started to really do a lot of research on the law of attraction and affirmations, things that really reprogram our mind for a positive state, to reprogram our mind for our own success. And this changed my life, because a lot of times in our society, you won't hear something positive directly to yourself, sometimes up to weeks. And then if you're watching the news, a lot of negativity's on the news, and sometimes family members are going through their stress, so they're not telling you positive things. So we have to reprogram our mind and tell it directly to ourselves, and reprogram our mind with positive type of thoughts. The music we listen to, the videos we watch, everything is a program within our brain. And I think that really ties in as well, not only to being healthy, but also feeling good about yourself and feeling good about how you treat other people. So these three things really changed my life, focusing on what foods go in my body, focusing on exercise and fitness, not only from a fit standpoint, but from a health standpoint, a feeling good standpoint, and also just a mental diet of what we put into our mind. It is just drastic, and I really want to stress that to people. Anybody who sees this, you can change your life today. You can change your perception right now. Okay, the past is the past. It's really about what's going on right now and how you're going to move forward. This is Search Fit, and that's just a little bit about what I do and what I believe in, and I'm here to help. If you guys ever got any questions, please reach out. Whatever I can do, I will.